Hello, and welcome to episode 10 of How to Do Digital Marketing, where we are going to talk about website development. And within website development, we're going to touch upon two important topics. But before that, a little bit about what is How to Do Digital Marketing. How to Do Digital Marketing is your go-to platform if you want to learn and implement the practical aspects of digital marketing. Through video tutorials, we are going to help you learn how to implement various aspects of digital marketing, whether it is for your business or whether it is for your professional working life. You could get guides, you could get tutorials, you can get in-depth articles, blogs, expert opinions, and a whole lot of free tools and advice on this platform. For more information, please visit www.howtododigitalmarketing.com. Today in this episode 10, we are going to talk about two important aspects, which is in terms of web hosting and domain purchase, which are two fundamental things that you will need to understand when you are trying to build a website and host it and run a business on the internet. But what is the important thing of what a domain name is? A domain name is a web address. For instance, our domain name is www.howtododigitalmarketing.com. So it's like a web address which has your site name and a .com, or it could be .co.in. It could also be a .in. It could be a whole lot of other extensions which are possible. If you're running an education institute, you could look at a .org or a .edu, and that there are various other line extensions. So every country has a separate extension. So a US would have a .us, India would be a .in or a .co.in. And hosting is a service that essentially allows or connects your site to the internet. So you host your website on a server like we talked about, and people can access your website through the internet. So a domain name and a web hosting service are two important things that you will need to understand and implement when you're putting up your website on the internet. So where do you get your domain name and hosting? The most popular domain name service provider in the country today is obviously GoDaddy.com. You keep seeing the advertising of it on television, you would get to see it on Facebook, and plus, like GoDaddy.com, there are a host of other service providers. We would recommend using www.bluehost.com, which is a web hosting and a domain registrar. So there are specific domain registrars who have been authorized to actually book domain names. GoDaddy is one of them, bluehost.com is one of them. There's even Network Solution and a host of other such service providers. What is very critical is that you need to understand that while you can book a domain name, you should not try to recommend, I would not recommend that you try to host the website yourself. Unless, of course, you are using a platform like a Wix.com or a Weebly.com or a WordPress.com, which allows you to host it on their own site. But however, if you were to host on a Wix or a Weebly or a WordPress, you would have your site name, which is let's say howtododigitalmarketing/WordPress/Wix.com. So it's actually a subdomain within the larger domain. If you're running a business, it's best to have your own domain name. And today domain names are very, very reasonable. You can get a domain name for as low as maybe 600 rupees, 500 rupees, 700 rupees for 1 year. And if you buy it for a larger number of years, you get a far better pricing for it. And advantage of going through a domain name registrar is that when you book a domain name, you also get a lot of personal email accounts. And that's one of the big advantage. So what kind of domain name should you pick? If you're looking for making a website for your business, it's very critical that a domain name should match your company's name. So let's say if your company's name is abc.com, your website ABC Private Limited, then your website domain name should also be ideally www.abc.com or an abc.in, abc.co.in, or any other extensions that you could look at. When you go to GoDaddy.com or Bluehost.com, you can actually search and understand what domain names or what extensions are available for you, and you could pick up the right one and the appropriate one for yourself. In case you're building a website for your own in your own name, like my name is Rajesh Menon, then obviously I would like to look at www.rajeshmenon.com or rajeshmenon.in. This could be another option which you could consider. You should always try to avoid weird extensions. There are a lot of them. Stick to the standard ones, which it could be .com, .net, .org, .edu, .co.in, .in. These are standard extensions which most people understand and quickly remember. Please remember that on the internet you are going to be competing with millions and millions of websites, and most of us as human beings, we tend to understand the word .com, and by nature, if I don't remember what the extension is, my presumption is that it's a .com. So even though if you have got a URL like let's say abc.edu as a URL, I rarely tend to remember that it was a .edu. My first impression is that it's a .com. So even if you book a domain name with a different extension, please see if you can get a .com extension and also block it, because this will prevent somebody else from taking it and utilizing it. And number two, it will also help you to address those people who don't remember your exact extension and simply type www.abc.com and assuming that your website is a .com website. Please remember, people may not find you if you have a very unusual extension, because your URL is like a brand name. People have to remember it to actually type it on the internet. If they do not remember it, there is no way they will be able to find you. And as we have seen in the earlier in terms of understanding what is digital marketing and SEO, discovery is the main way by which people understand what it is that you do and come and visit your website. So therefore, the simpler the name, the better it is for people to remember. At .com is always the easiest thing and first thing which comes to people's mind. So please remember to choose domain names which are memorable, which are catchy, and which people can remember as a brand. So these are three important aspects that you need to remember when you're selecting a domain name. Memorability, people should remember. We all remember what's Yahoo. We all know what's Google. They are all brandable domain names. But we might not remember abc.com or XYZ or Alpha Credit Investment Services Private Limited. They are a long winding name. So keep your name short, keep your name sweet and memorable. Keep your name, if you can get a catchy name, nothing like it. And most importantly, you look at from a long-term perspective that as you grow, as business grows, people should start remembering the name of your domain. The next thing which comes to us, once you have booked a domain and you have built your website, as you have seen in episode 7, 8 and 9 in terms of building a website, we took you through the entire process. The final step comes when you need to actually host it. And before you host it, there are some pointers that you need to bear in mind. We'll quickly go through what are these pointers that you need to keep in mind. First and most important thing is, don't simply go by the price. There are a host of websites, a host of service providers which offer you price points which are absolutely varied. You might get tempted to pick up the cheapest one, but remember, taking the cheapest one is not necessarily always the best idea. You need to look at what are the features that each service provider provides and then compare prices. So if you look at a different feature, somebody is offering a different feature and offering a higher price, and somebody is offering a far lesser features and offering a lower price, you're actually comparing apples to oranges. So you need to make sure that you're comparing apple to apple before taking a decision in terms of which hosting service provider that you need to go with. A couple of two sites that we would recommend you to look at. One is www.hostmonk.com. This is a site which has a comprehensive list of hosting companies and the packages. They keep updating this site on a regular basis. So you could look at this as a directory. In fact, in terms of understanding what are the current packages that companies are offering. The second site is that you always should look at what are the reviews in terms of what people have bought and what are their experiences. And for that, there's WH Reviews, which is www.whreviews.com, which is a shopping guide which gives you reviews of various internet products. You could look at that. So these are the important two references that we would recommend you to look at, and not just blindly go and look at price. Second important thing that you need to look at is what is the specialty or the area of expertise of the hosting service provider. Do they have search recommendations? Do they understand customer needs? And what is the kind of reviews this particular hosting service provider has? There are some big brand names which you could probably look at it from the perspective of looking at. GoDaddy not only provides hosting, not only provides domain name, but they also provide hosting services. So does Network Solutions. So do a lot of other people. But if you're looking at comparing various website hosting service providers, please do take a look at the reviews which are there before you make, and so that you can make an informed buying decision. One very important critical aspect is that if you're hosting, let's say, a very content heavy site like a blog or an e-commerce site or a site which has a lot of rich content or videos, you should not go for the cheapest hosting package, because in this case, the amount of space that you get, the disk space that you get, or the RAM that you get, the amount of GB that you get in terms of storage space, it will become very critical for you as a company or as a website. So if you have got a lot of, let's say you're creating something like a YouTube, you will necessarily need to look at somebody which is giving you a lot of storage space. And please remember, most of the packages that you get to see on the internet are mostly standard packages which offer you a certain set of features at a certain price. With the certain set of features would include things like the RAM, things like the processing power, and things like disk space. So you might get a 1 GB disk space, you might get a 10 GB disk space. So the RAM, the processing power, and the disk space would actually kind of create or give you the kind of price point. So a disk space is very, very critical consideration. So when you're taking up a hosting package, take a look at what is the disk space. Talk to your development team to understand from them what is the kind of disk space that you would require to give a good user experience to the user that you have. Tech support is very critical. If you're looking at an external, most of the service providers, a lot of service providers, hosting service providers are not located in India, and many of them only provide a tech support in terms of through email. So if you have a problem, you need to consider whether you are satisfied with just an email ticket support, or you actually want to speak to somebody physically, and how fast is the response time which they are giving you as in terms of a guarantee. So this is a very important consideration which you need to look at. Secondly, you would also consider is that do they have regular data backups or in terms of data recoveries. For instance, let's assume that you do not have adequate website security, or for some reason your website has been hacked and you have lost all the data which was there on your website. Does the hosting service provider offer you a backup of your current website? That would become very, very critical, mission critical in fact, because your business would be down until you build a new website completely. So this kind of stuff is very important for you. So please take a look at it. Secondly, sixth point is what are the kind of hardware machines does your hosting company use? Is it top of the line? Is it out of the box? Is it new machines? What is the kind of hardware device? Because that will give you an indication in terms of how good that service is that they're going to be providing. The seventh point is do a Google search. If you are looking at evaluating a particular company, do a Google search to look them up and understand what do customers have to say about it. There are a few sites which you could look at. Is a Lifehackers, which is a reader's favorite web hosting list. There's Web Hosting Talk. It's one of the largest web hosting community on the net. You could go there, interact with the community there, understand from them which is a good hosting company that you could look at. There's Web Hosting Jury, which are reviews submitted by users themselves. So apart from VH reviews, you could also look at these from a customer reviews perspective. Now let's look at some of the top web hosting companies that you could look at if you are based out of India. They are not our recommendations, they are purely a listing, and we are not recommending that you choose any one of them. You could choose outside these 10, but these are 10 that we have looked at, we have evaluated, and we feel that they could serve your purpose. So any one of these 10 you could look at. That's first one is HostSoch or HostSoc, as I don't know how you pronounce this particular thing. They provide an unlimited web space and bandwidth. They provide a free domain name for lifetime. So this is a great, if you want to save costs, you could look at HostSoch and book the hosting space and get a domain name for lifetime. They also provide a 99.9% uptime guarantee, which is what I mentioned, very critical if you don't want a business to go down. So therefore, a 99.9% uptime guarantee means that they're guaranteeing you that a website will be live all the time, or literally all the time. They also give you support in terms of the kind of platform they're going to use. We talked about the various content management systems on which the websites are built, which could be a Joomla or a Drupal or a WordPress or a Magneto or PHP. So no matter what platform your website is being built on, HostSoch can give you that support in terms of hosting your company's website on their hosting service. iPage is another thing which again gives unlimited disk space and bandwidth. They give you free domain names. One big advantage, they give you a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you don't like the service, you don't like the kind of bandwidth they're giving you, they don't like the kind of uptime they're giving you, simply cancel and take your money back and go to the next service provider. One important thing is that please remember, you don't need to be logged in with a particular hosting service provider. You can easily change hosting service provider anytime you want, any day you want. So you simply need to change one, close down one, and put a website on somebody else, and your website will still be as good as it was earlier. iPage again supports all the standard CMS platforms. They also provide a cPanel through which you can actually control your website. There's Bluehost, which we talked about in the beginning. They again unlimited disk space. One big advantage, they give you unlimited email accounts. So if you are a company with multiple people, multiple employees, you might want to consider Bluehost because of the fact that you're getting unlimited email accounts. You again get a 30-day money back guarantee. It supports all the standard CMS platforms. You also get a cPanel. There's Hosting Raja, which is a very, very popular web hosting platform. They give you a 3000 MB web space, a 5 GB bandwidth, and it supports all the standard again CMS platforms and a cPanel. There's BigRock, which is again very, very big company. It's a very famous company. They give you 500 MB disk space. They give you 2 GB bandwidth. You can host a single website, 30-day money back guarantee, and again covers all kinds of CMS platforms, including e-commerce platforms. There's CloudReno. CloudReno is one of the newer companies on the block, run by a very enterprising young lady by the name of Tarusha Mittal. It's a great web hosting service provider you could consider, as opposed to using, let's say, an AWS or an Amazon Web Service, which may be a little more expensive to you. That's not to say that AWS is bad. It's extremely good. It's extremely great. But yes, if you're looking at, if cost is a consideration, if you want to get a better efficiency, then please, you could consider looking at CloudReno. They have one big advantage. They have multiple plans to choose from. So you could look at whatever package you want to take based on your need. You can upgrade or downgrade with a single click. They provide a host of support in terms of cPanel. You can do, whether it's a website is built on PHP or whether it's built on WordPress, whether it's on Linux or whether it's on Windows, not a problem. You can host it on CloudReno. And the advantage that they have is that they have multiple locations. So your latency, for least latency you have DDoS protection, and above all, you get a free server for life. So CloudReno is one of the good newer kids on the block. I would recommend you all to look at it. There's fatcow.com, which again offers unlimited disk space and bandwidth. It hosts unlimited domains. You get a free domain name, 30 days money back guarantee, and it supports all the standard CMS platforms. You have JustHost, which offers 50 GB disk space. It has unlimited bandwidth, unlimited websites, free domain name, 30 days money back guarantee. Then ZNet Live is another great Indian company. I'm always very fond of promoting Indian companies. Again, there's a great gentleman by the name of Manish Jadun who runs it. A great guy. You have unlimited bandwidth. They offer 2048 MB web space. 25 email IDs come with it. It supports all the standard CMS platforms, WordPress, Drupal, PHP, cPanel, and they have deals, so which keeps changing. So you could check out the ZNet Live deals of the day or of the week and choose your package accordingly. There's HostGator, which is again another very globally well-known company. Again, unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth. They have a 45-day money-back guarantee. So for 45 days, if you don't like it, simply change it. And it supports all the standard content management systems. There's InMotion, which is what we use. How to do digital marketing uses InMotion. We are extremely happy with it. It provides us unlimited disk space, a free domain name, 90-day money-back guarantee. It supports all those content management platforms that we're looking at. So which brings us to the end of this episode 10. If you want to find more resources, tips, guides, courses, please visit www.howtododigitalmarketing.com. Until next time, thank you and have a good day.